I'm this kitty. I'm gonna this kitty daycare. This kitty daycare has been throwing all of this. Look, you see it? It's poop. Other animals, not mine. Chalk, toys, small pieces of pots, like broken pots. All of that, the shards can get into her eyes and hurt Zahra really badly. You see it? You see what I'm seeing? The daycare, the kitty daycare has been doing all of this. They admitted it too. They said we're bonkers. They said they do this only to the bunker houses. And they send stinky roozies and stinky riseys. Which is code for mosquitoes and tarantulas. Dead ones and living ones. Look at how loud their school is. It's not even a school. It's just a daycare. They just watch little kids drool. They think they're important members of society. They're not. They're not even a part of society. They're just clouds in the sky. Full of poo and pie. This is all fresh poop. Look at this. Zahra doesn't poop like this. None of her poop is like this. And look at all this. You think she made all of this? I take her out walking twice a day. That's the only time she poops. Me and Michael pick up her poop right away. Look. Now they're acting innocent, like they're just full of doubt. And really they're full of kraut. As in they have no history, no stories, nothing. They say that the British men are the ones full of glory. They don't explain who they are. They say the Republicans are the stars, and that they freed all the slaves, as if they know who even the slaves are. They don't put respect on anyone's name, unless if they're white and from the Ku Klux Klan. Because guess what? This preschool, which isn't a preschool, it's a daycare. Again, it's a daycare. They just watch kids poop and fly. All they do is throw poop and trash into this yard, and they're all members of the Ku Klux Klan. The KKK. They're members of the KKK. Members of the KKK. And that's how they have permission to destroy everything. And for some reason, their school never gets shut down. Their daycare never gets shut down. Like, how many years have you been active for? Two and a half years? That's not right. It was 8 years. They've been active for 8 years. And they don't do anything but trash this neighborhood. And trash the revolutionaries. Because that's what I am, a revolutionary, according to them. I'm actually a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. And I'm not anti-Semitic because I'm a real Semite. As every Ethiopian is. And And the Palestinians are real Semites. How dare you question me? How dare you? You don't even know your own history. You think you're from Zion? Do you even know what Zion is? It doesn't exist. You're the mythological ones, not me. They say that they just poop and resist, poop and resist, poop and resist. And they make up the stories right on the spot, right on the spot, right on the spot. When they have different codes, they just press a button and a code comes out, because a lot of them are just space robots, and they're down from the start. They're mythological because they're robots from the 19th century. 18th? That's not true. They're from the 19th century. They were created at a MyLab abduction site. So they've been, this is the most recent attack, and this is also a recent attack that comes from this neighbor right here, whose name is, I can't say her name, but she's been dropping pigeon poop on top of it, so we get attacked by other animals too. And she said it's a crow's nest, which means she's been calling on the crows too, putting crows' food in here. Okay, so back to the story, the real story. They're from the 19th century. They're created at a MyLab sub-refugee center. They're robots disguised as humans, merged with Zeta, Gray, and Nolan, as in Nolan Tesla. So they're merged with all of these different bodies. They were created to last until 2029, but they keep trying to find ways to extend their timeline. They've been deserted 89 times because they're just not militaristic enough. They don't have wit and craft, in craft or at craft. They're full of crap. That's what they've been told. They've been reduced just to a piece of mold. And then this neighbor that puts pigeon poop in here, she's a Zeta from the pigeon century, which is the electric wars, which are still going on today. This is the one that they want to hold and kill. They want to break every single limb and twist her neck last. They think if they kill her and eat her, they'll have every single brain blast. As in that they'll have all my gifts. And it's not true. But I won't tell them the truth. Not now. Not about Zahara. Not ever. Okay, and so, yeah, it says Electric Wars, which is still going on today. It's just not in your face as the way that they like to say when they used to make it. It's a war that began between the reptilians and the humanoids and the subparticle methanoid creatures that used to travel by foot and by air. They never used anything that caused carbon emissions, and that's why they began to hate the humans, because we just destroyed our planet to the point that we had to look for other planets elsewhere. Humanoids have been living in space since the early 17th century. It's our only way of getting out of the horrors of our planet. This planet Earth has been decomposing and recomposing into something frightful, and I love you. Lubna Kamal Suboh, I love you and only you. And so humanoids have been living in space since the 17th century, and we've been hoarding space particles and subatoms and any form of weaponry that we could we could take. I consider myself my human. I don't agree with this. So I'm not a human in this timeline, and I'm actually not human at all, which none of you actually believed until I fell to death and came back with it all. So humans have been stealing from space and bringing it back to the Navy base and to the base at hand, whatever that may be. Not only that, but we've been crushing the nectar in space, and you'll understand that if you'd only wash your face thrice and stick to it thrice. Don't add any more, otherwise it'll lead to mice and lice. The subatomic particles have been destroying our planet. No one should have brought anything from space onto this planet. It either falls onto this planet as meteorites or astral projections. There's no such thing as asteroids. That was just made up for your consumption. Any grammatical errors are coming through to me from the place that they call Holy Destiny, which is actually mind mold and cruelty. He beats his animals until they turn to dust, and that's the neighbor that lives right next to the kitty daycare. He thinks he's powerful because he beats animals to nothing. Really, his demise is to turn into an animal and turn into nothing. And he'll reincarnate into nothing, and everyone will stomp on his nothing. And so the subarticles and the dust and the subatomic must and the subatomic lust and everything else in between turns into a giant swing of unheroic mask and scream until you turn into death and deceit. And the truth is, I can balance everything. The crying makes me stronger. Your laughter makes me stronger. And now you're saying very terrible things that can't be repeated, not ever. That's how dirty they are, They say things, really terrible things. Terrible things that don't even belong on Adult Swim or the over 18 plus pages. This stuff belongs on Pornographic Swim, if that exists. That's how bad it is. These people at the kitty daycare, they think some terrible things. They tell the children to think it too. So when they grow up, all they'll want to do is be sex workers all their lives. They're grooming the children to be sex workers. That's how terrible this kitty daycare is. Okay, now, what else? What else do you want me to swim into? Yeah, I can swim into your brains. The more that you talk to me, the easier it is to gain access to you. And so, and anyway, the subarticle atoms and subatomic waste and the demise and the kermise and the mazais and the shahis and the nakais and the karais and the mahais and the sais and the kanais and the shais and the shakanai. That's what they all brought to this planet. And it turned into carbon, and it turned into dust, and it turned into must, and turned into musk. And it became the ozone layer, which is shrinking. The more we steal from space, the more it shrinks. The things that fall from space are not collateral damage, as they say, but it's medicine and healing for us. And that's why we are allowed to extract the crystals that fall into the earth. But if we go and extract them and take eternal, infinite wealth. There are consequences, and those we can't even breathe and tell, because just thinking about it will cause something to foretell and foretell. Now, this daycare apparently is responsible for all the poop in the backyard, responsible for the pigeon dust, the mite dust, the fly dust, all the food, and even the dragonfly food. And yes, they managed to get dragonfly food, but they didn't know that mixing dragonfly food with termites, with cockroaches, they got the big German cockroaches out, and the ones that make sounds, and the ones that move things, and the ones that like to scare people, especially if they swing and dance and they sing along to themselves and love to hum and love to be, love to carry themselves as they're free, because I'm free, and so is Zahra too. So as long as they put those all together, they bring on the dragon era. And dragons, well, they go on what they feel is fair. So if someone is unfair, they go after them. And if someone is fair, they heal and hide them from all. And the dragons that are unfair to the fair, those are the ones we're allowed to crave and crave. And these are the children that steal Reiki and pranic healing from me. And now I take it all from you, and I breathe in your... The children, they're a part of the KKK too. Everyone on their land has to be a part of the KKK, otherwise they can't land. And they're stuck within regular daycare, where they don't play outside all day long. They're stuck with their regular daycare, where they're not allowed to sleep and sing and song. They're stuck in a regular daycare, where they're not right next to the most healed and the biggest healer. They're stuck at a regular daycare, where they're not next to a giant ore. They're stuck next to a regular daycare, not next to a satellite, the biggest one of all. They're stuck to a regular daycare, not where they're not right next to a dog that heals and heals and heals. They're stuck next to a regular daycare, where they can put their arms around my throat. They're stuck next to a regular daycare, where they can't squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until I croak. They're stuck next to a regular daycare, where they can't cut and kill me in my sleep. They're stuck next to a regular daycare that doesn't wish for my deceive, defall, weep, die until I weep. And look, it's over now. It's just my imagination, don't you see? They're stuck in a regular daycare, where they can't stick pins and needles inside me at all. They're stuck next to regular daycare, where they make up my beliefs as when I'm falling down. They're stuck next to regular daycare, where I create new rules all the time. They're stuck next to regular daycare, where I'm not swatting flies all the time. They're stuck next to regular daycare, where they're not next to the writer, the healer, the musician, the model, the one that decides when to swim and when to swaddle. They're stuck next to regular daycare, where they can't control my bodily functions. They're stuck next to a regular daycare, where all their hoodoo shrines, and everything else, including their root craft, which isn't nearly as big as mine, because they put me as the Pope. The Pope decided to claim what's mine. They took all the blood they've ever collected in time and drenched him in blood, and that's it, he's me. And they all worship the Pope and his family, and just by anyone worshiping the Pope and his family, even just one teensy bit, like believe in Jesus Christ, believe in his healing abilities, just by doing that and I'm not stuck in one spot. I don't follow any of your rules because you're broken, you're broken, you're broken, you're all broken, broken, broken. And I take back everything you stole and everything you claim that's mine, 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 mine. And you get nothing at all. I break all your spells of disease and dis-ease. And the last thing is, you're stuck next to a regular daycare where no matter what I do, you chain yourself to me and you put shackles on my throat and my chest right now. But guess what? I feed my family, and you're stuck next to a regular daycare where you're not next to a healer that heals in public. Oh wow, you're surprised about that? You've definitely never met a shaman before or an orisha, and you're stuck next to a regular daycare where you're not next to someone who's immortal, and you're stuck next to a regular daycare where you've never met Aleister Crowley. That's how I say your name. Is that cool? It's cool. And you're stuck next to a regular daycare where I'm not actually where you don't have someone next to you that's an actual god and commands and controls and shuts off everything that you do right now and reverses everything that you did, and it all comes back to me. All the good comes back to me, and all the bad goes back to you, and it's stuck with you, to you forever and beyond time, dimension, space. And I just say space, and that's it. It's everything. And you're stuck next to a regular daycare where your sounds are all just pings. They go back to you, pins and riddles and all. And you're stuck next to you're not a regular daycare, so so you're a regular daycare, and that sound was nothing at all. You'd be stuck as a regular daycare, not next to someone who fumbles and falls. And you're stuck next to regular daycare where you can't take my whole loop, chain, and balls, which is what you call my everything, including my soul, to speak of. And you thought I had a million, so obviously you're just a heap of, what are you again? Aren't you just negative aliens? No, you're not. And you're not robots either. It doesn't matter what you are. But I identified you. And I have it in this recording. And I don't have to listen to it more than once. And just me saying it dismantles you at once. As you're stuck you're stuck as a regular, you're stuck next to, and you're not a regular daycare, so you're not stuck next to someone who can defeat you all the time, and I don't even have to think about you, I don't even have to hear you, and just like that, blop, you're just totally under the control of a god, and it's not yours, it's never yours ever again. And you're stuck as a regular daycare. You're not a regular daycare, so you're stuck to someone and you're stuck next to someone who knows it all, and you can't take anything from me, nothing at all. You can't take anything from anyone at all. That's it, you're maimed. You're bound. You can't pray. You can't speak. You can't touch. You can't feel. And you can't be. fame, the fame, the fame. Weightless, weightless, weightless.